Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Social Media Church podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, Aaron Magnuson, joined today by the other co-host, DK Hammonds. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you should be, because DK can make gestures with his hands. And I'll let you, if you're listening to this, I'll leave it at that so that you can be intrigued enough to go over there. But little graphics appear on his screen. So that was awesome. DK, how you doing?
Man, I'm good. Let me tell you something. I must really love this platform and these people because I got up really, really early to do this. So group hug for everybody listening in.
We love you, DK, and we're happy that you got up early. I got up early too. And the reason that we got up early is because we have a very special guest on the podcast today. And it's somebody that I've actually been trying to get on the podcast for a long time. She's in the Philippines, and because of the craziness of our schedules, have not made it work. But today at 8 a.m. Central Time, we have Marle Mae on the podcast. And Marle Mae is the social media manager for Pray.com, somebody that I have the pleasure of being a coworker with and have had the pleasure of learning a tremendous amount of social media skills and hacks and insights from. And so today I wanted to bring her on the podcast and have her drop all of those nuggets on you all. Now, Marle is in the Philippines, and this is a special moment for us here at Social Media Church because our team on the back end representing Amplify Social Media is all in the Philippines as well. People we love, people we have relationships with, people we've met in person, and they are going to be so excited, Marle, that you're on the podcast and editing this podcast. So Marle, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Aaron. Yeah, I'm good and I'm feeling excited about this podcast because this is going to be first ever podcast interview.
We are honored, Marle, that we would be the platform for everybody to learn about and discover you. I have seen incredible growth of our Pray.com social media, all of our channels, since you joined the team and since you started strategizing. And it is about time that you share some of that secret sauce with the world. But before we jump into social media strategies, Marle, would you be so kind as to just introduce yourself to our audience, let them know a little bit about your background, where you're from, what you're doing now, and then we'll jump into social media.
So, actually, I started my career in the hospitality industry. So that my first job was working in a 5-star hotel in Manila. But then the pandemic hit. I was laid off, and they just decided to have a renovation of the hotel. And then for 2 years, we were on lockdown in the Philippines. And I don't know how it's gonna work for me because I have no job at all. And that kind of like opened up really interesting ideas. I had like different business ventures like food business, clothes business, buy and sell, but it's just all home based. And then 2 years after, I kind of learned about freelancing, and that's when I learned I can actually earn money online. And my first online job was under an agency. And then from there, I signed in with multiple clients from other countries.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that kind of really started my freelancing journey. And then serving other people across the globe. And then, like a few months after, I felt that burnout because I felt like my freelancing services is all over the place. Like I was really overwhelmed with a lot of work as a general virtual assistant. And then I quit. I let go of all the clients that I have, and I used those 3 months to really focus on what is the thing that I really wanted to do them, and that's social media. And then I used those 3 months to upskill, and I joined online webinars, online workshops, And then I also utilize the free courses on Udemy, Google Digital Garage, and I also had like paid trainings, but it's social media management training, because I really wanted to deep dive on social media industry. And then three months after, March 2022, that's when I signed with Predac, and we've grown from there. So that's my from hospitality industry, working face to face with people, and now working remotely as a social media manager for Predac. That's a really long journey for me.
Yeah, that's really amazing, Marley. I mean, to hear your journey, to hear that pandemic just didn't impact the people in the U.S., but it impacted us globally, and to hear that you knew what to do with your pivot, right? A lot of people have been having conversations, pivots, what to do with them, and all this kind of stuff. No, you took it upon yourself, and as you mentioned, to upskill, to learn new trades, to learn new stuff, and then reapply it to the market. And for that, we salute you, Marley. This is so amazing, and I'm glad to hear your story.
Yes. DK, that's probably worth spending time on for a second. This whole concept of upskilling has never been easier because of webinars and because of those things. It's just like, are you willing to put in the time and the hours to learn those things? And then, I mean, ultimately, Marley, what that led to is a job. Like, you upskilled and then you got a job and you changed industries. And I think that there's some encouragement there for pastors and leaders and even social media managers that are listening to this. There's opportunities that you have, by the way, that your organization will probably pay for you to learn and grow. Now, we're happy you're here, giving us your ear, and we're happy for you to learn from Marley today. But I think that there's something really cool that happens when you invest and sharpen your skills or develop a new skill. DK, I know you're passionate about this. Is there anything specific that you would want to explore more while we're here? I just know that it's
a little bit. So, all right. So, I mean, that's a journey that Marley eloquently laid out for us. She went from hospitality, and really social media is a version of hospitality. She went from hospitality to freelancing, which gave her the skill sets to kind of navigate social media, because she had to learn different skill sets. And then now you apply that knowledge to a business opportunity. And here you are working for a high-end Christian company in the U.S. I think that can't get overlooked. And so I'm a person that's upskilled and out of the pandemic, gone to school, done all those things. And those things have been extremely helpful for me, but it's also gave me a lot of opportunity to discuss it and talk about it at length to other people, which leads to more lead generation, because I'm talking about it, I'm passionate about it, people can see my work, etc. So, Marley, in the social media game, what are you most passionate about to communicate to people as it relates to social media?
Actually, for me, it's all about humanizing the company and the brand, because people connect with people, and like it's more important that the audience or your target market really feel that like this company that I follow and I love feels me. This company hears me. Like, this company really understand my, and like we wanted to give all that content for them, so that they would, whenever they go to social media, they would want to get inspired. They want to get educated. They want to be entertained. So we want to give all that to like really build a strong relationship, because like from the company standpoint, we will never really like meet all the customers that we have all over the world, because that's the reality. But social media connects us in a way that we're building that genuine relationship with them, and that's I think the most powerful thing that social media can do for it.
Yes, it is. It is. And DK, it's not the first time. It's beautiful that Marle said it. It's not the first time that we have said on this podcast that people connect with people. So, Pastor, it's why it's important that your social media is involved, that you are on social media. But we are talking to a lot of managers of social media accounts that are for the brand, as Marle said, or for the organization or for the church. All of those are synonymous. So as we interchange those terms throughout this podcast, we're all talking about the same thing.
Hey guys, it's Nils, and I'm interrupting this podcast episode to highlight one of our sponsors. This sponsor is actually one of my companies, Amplify Social Media, where I'm the founder and CEO. And for years, we've been helping ministries and churches grow their message and amplify their message through social media done for them. And so as a consultant, one of the things that I found is that a lot of times ministries that have a hard time with capacity to fully do everything that they want to do on social media. So we built a team to help. We can help put your sermons on YouTube and podcasts and create social media clips and graphics and videos and all the things that you need to do with ads and even responding, helping you manage your inbox and your comments and messages. Our team is here to help. So if you want help amplifying your social media presence, reach out to our team, go to amplifysocial.media, and we would love to help. We will hopefully talk to you soon. Let's get back to the episode.
Marle, what was your first step? Because I think that there's a lot of churches, and DK, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that there's a lot of churches that are still trying to figure out this humanizing element to the church. And by the way, the church is a living organism, so this should be easier for the church than it is for any other brand from where I sit. So Marle, kind of when you came in March 2022, which was 3 or 4 months before I came in, what was kind of some of those first steps that you took with Pray.com in shifting it to the direction of humanizing a brand?
Yeah, so the most important thing when I took over, what I did is the social media audit. The social media audit is like the backbone of everything that's going to be on your social media as a company, as a church, as a leader. Because from there, you will do like a lot of research. You will do a lot of market analysis and like competitors research, and then you will analyze what are the content that worked before, what content flopped, and then you can optimize all the content that you're gonna put out in the future from the research that you've done from the very beginning. So social media audit is a very important step for doing something crazy on every social platform.
Let's practically unpack that. Yes, that's right. The audit. This is speaking DK's love language. He's happy he woke up at 8 a.m. Yes. Marle, let's unpack that. So I'd imagine there's a lot of leaders that are like, okay, social media audit. Okay, was she just looking at stats? If she was looking at stats, what stats was she looking at? How far back did she go? Like, can you unpack that process a little bit, just so for some tangible handles for our audience to grab?
In a general sense, if you're going to have a little time to do that social media audit, it's like collect all the social media handles that you have, like either Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, if you're on TikTok also, and then just kind of like listing all the data that your social media accounts have, like for example the handles, like the usernames that you have across all those platforms, the bio, like the brief description of each account that you have, and how many followers have you got, how many content have you put out in the past, what are the top performing content, what are the low performing content, and then from there you'll have a general sense of, okay, are all my accounts on social media, are they similar? Like, do they have like that brand voice in every social media? Because for example, if we have like pray.com on Instagram and then like daily prayers on Facebook, they're not the same. Like who is this company? Because they're sharing about pray.com, and then in this platform they are daily prayers. So it really has to be like in sync, all the memes, all the bios, and then you could just optimize.
So, all right, Mark, you got my what you said. So, what Marley is talking about to the audience, and again, welcome to Social Media Church. I'm DK Harris, Aaron, and we have the lovely Mark, genius brain of Marley here with us. What Marley is talking about is brand cohesion. How we can make our brand, because this goes into standardizations and streamlining a brand to make it look and feel, again, that human experience, the same no matter what platform. Even though those platforms have different audiences, we're still going to have some level of cohesion and then curtail the information to the audience. That is what she's speaking of, right? And so I think it's important for the mid-level smaller churches to really think about how important social media is, how we're leveraging that social media audit. I think this is me. It's not many people talking about audit. I think that audit is one of the most important things you can do, because it tells you the story that other people won't tell you. It tells you that. And and then you can see, okay, hey, my TikTok ain't really about that life. Let me go over here and change, or let me add some more text and pictures and things of that nature. And so, ma'am, sir, if you're going to get started in this business, grassroots, ground level, find you somebody that understands the importance of a social media audit. And here's the other part to that: how to then implement the audit. Fine.
Marley, I'm so glad you brought up the audit. That, like, not many people doing that. Not many people doing that. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work that not everybody wants to invest, but what you find is who you are, and then you're able to actually create the content that matters.
I remember it took me about like a week to finish social media audits for all of Prayhan.
So say that again. How long did it take you?
Like a week.
Wow. Well, welcome to your first podcast, Marley.
I was nervous.
You don't need to be nervous. You're doing great. Marley, you are really good at presenting and speaking. Just so you know, like, that's a skill that you have. No smoke. You are really good at that.
So, I'm just thankful that Jason allows me to, present more often, because that's the thing that I've not doing a lot before. And so, it helps me to build that confidence and show up at the company more often.
Yes. Yep. And it's a skill. It's a skill that I'm thankful a lot of our team gets to learn, is presenting, and people that English is not their first language. And I'm like, man, you guys are crushing this, presenting to the company, asking all that. DK, you good?
Yeah, my bad. My son was calling, and the whole thing just dropped while he was FaceTime calling.
Okay. Is your son good?
Yeah, he's straight. He's on his way to my house. That's what he's.
Got it. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where to jump back in, because DK, did you, well, before I
come back where I was at.
You got it?
Yeah. That's cool.
All right. Team, DK is going to give you a little space, and then you can edit to this point right here, because I loved where DK was going.
Man, hey, okay. So listen, y'all, I'm, DK, that's Aaron. We have the lovely Marley here with us. And Marley was sharing with us so eloquently about the importance of a social media audit, and how that audit then drives so many other things in terms of brand cohesion, brand structure strategy, and it makes your brand become more alive and humanistic because you understand what your brand is. So find you a social media manager that understands social media audits, how to use them, and then how to then implement the information that you got from said audit. So Marle, walk us through that. Help us out. We don't know much. We are slow over here, right? Help us out in terms of, let's take one strategy and how we could implement that one strategy in areas. You could pick anyone.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So maybe we could talk about since we're talking for those companies that are, you know, starting from the ground up.
Actually,
So all the impressions, all the engagement, I think that's kind of like in the future, but we could talk about like the target audience. And so that should be the first thing that everybody in the company or everybody in the ministry knows, that who are you talking to in the social media? Because they say if you talk to everyone, you're talking to no one. And so
Zero, you're talking to no one. Say it again for the people in the back. If you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. Preach, Marle. Keep preaching.
that actually helped me to create all the content surrounding that pain points that our target audience are experiencing. So mostly the followers of Pray.com is women in their 30s to 45, age 30 to 45, both on Instagram and Facebook. And so you have to know where your target audience are hanging. So for Pray, it's Instagram and Facebook, because you don't want to spread yourself too thin on each platform doing the bare minimum. You're being mediocre. I mean, you're all over the place. I mean, yes, you're showing up in every platform there is on social media, but then you have got like 1,000 followers each of that. When you get a click with 2 or 3 platforms that gonna work for you, and you have like more passion to create content for, and like all in, you're gonna put in the work to create that content for each platform that optimize. For example, at Instagram, Reels are doing a great work for us, because we're reaching more people than ever for the past years on Pray.com. So I think really knowing your target audience and working your content around it for the pain points is one of the.
Now DK. Not only do we agree with everything Marle just said, I love it that we started with an audit and now we're talking about knowing your audience. We haven't even started talking about the content itself to grow your channel. We've talked about 2 things that have nothing to do with the content itself. I know you're excited to create content. I know you, pastor, social media manager, online pastor, have awesome ideas. And I'm preaching to myself because this was me, about what we should be posting on social media. Have you done the audit? Have you done the audience audit so that you know whether you like that content or whether your audience likes that content? Because newsflash, nobody cares if you like it. The important part of growth, which let's go back to, why is growth important for churches? Why are we talking about this? Well, it's not to be famous. I'll tell you that. It's to spread the news of Jesus all across the internet, all across the social webs, to change lives. So I don't care what you like. Don't think Jesus cares what you like. I think what's important is, what has Jesus called your church to do online so that the Great Commission can be fulfilled? And that takes an audit, and that takes an audience audit before we're even talking about that really cool TikTok dance move video that you think your pastor should do so that you can get 1.4 million views and arrive. And there's air quotes around the arrive. I hope you heard that in the inflection of my voice. Now, DK, one of the advantages that we have at Prey.com is we have an app. And so we're able to get unique insight into what Marley referred to as our audience.
Sure.
Now, for a church, which is your space, it used to be my space.
Yeah.
Not the platform, but it did used to be my space. DK, how would you recommend to a church leader to do an audience audit outside of just some of the metrics that you may already have on your social media platform? But what's another good space to do an audit to determine who am I reaching and what does that person look like?
Actually sitting in a sanctuary. Some of us social media gurus, things of that nature, hardly even go to church. Go sit your behind in the sanctuary and see for yourself who's the audience. Walk the hallways, have conversations with people to determine in person who's the audience. Now, because that audience is different than the audience that is listening digitally, right? And so now you say, okay, cool, I have a good handle on what we have in the building. What does that look like digitally? So now we can potentially look at the analytics and say, okay, it's at this age, it's at this race, color. Here's where we're making the most impact as it relates to social media. Now that you know that, that means if your audience is 70% women, and I'm using that loosely because I don't know what everybody's audience is, but 70% women, then you're not going to have a whole lot of blues, right? You're going to make sure it's real brand structured because you're pulling more women in and women share content. One day we're going to have a podcast and we're going to talk about the importance and value women have to social media and how it thrives in other places, right? But that's what I'm saying, and that's how important it is. There's a book that I studied in seminary that talked about marketing, especially to girls, and how to use certain brand colors, brand strategies based on the social media audit. And then taking that and then using that psychology, because there is a psychology, and using the psychology to your advantage. Now, that sounds like pinky in the brain kind of talk, but
that was a great show, by the way.
Yeah, I love great cartoon. But that's why it's so important. So those are the ways. So if you want to know what sheep are doing, and you don't smell like sheep, it's the euphemism at biblical, then you won't have an understanding about sheep. You have to get in the weeds with the people to know what is happening. So what if you got 1 million people that go to your church? Well, in your close community, you can pretty much get a good feel of what it is that's representing the church. And then use that to pull in the outliers that's kind of standing on the outside, the fringes, to make a better, bigger impact. This is paywall conversation right here.
Yeah. That's right. What does DK mean by paywall? This is content that should live behind a paywall. And someday it might, just so y'all know. And someday it might. And okay, Marley. Okay, before we continue, what was just for context, so that people really understand and start taking notes if they haven't already? Where was Prey at, generally speaking, social media wise, follower wise, when you came in, and where are we now? Do you have that off the top of your head?
Okay.
Roughly.
When I joined, it was about 280,000 followers, and now we're close to hitting 700,000.
That's in a year. Everybody.
Yeah.
That's in a year. Okay. So the framework that we've laid out so far, if you weren't listening before, you're listening now. And if your friend is over there making content, whatever he wants or she wants, go ahead and send them this podcast. That would be a wise choice. So you did the audit, you did the audience audit. Now, Marley, was the next step creating content, or was the next step something like, okay, now that I know what they look like, where are they hanging out? Is that like following a bunch of accounts to start getting ideas of what those accounts they're engaging with are creating? And then we're going to create something similar for Prey? Or what did it look like after you had nailed down your social media audit and then your audience audit?
Yeah. Well, the next step is actually the content planning. So not the creative process itself, but the content planning and strategizing, because you have to be strategic in what platform you're going to focus on and what content buckets you wanted to give more for target audience, social, and then from there you can now start creating your content. So
Wow.
planning strategy.
Okay, let's make it practical for the people. Let's make it and we'll be taking donations after this. DK and I are gonna put our Venmo links in here.
Come on,
All the money's going to Marle. And so okay, so when you're content strategizing, are you doing that in like Google Sheets, like different buckets? Just unpack that a little bit again for the sake of our audience, just being able to grab some handles. What did that look like? The content strategy before you start creating the content look like for you, Marle?
Yeah. So we have like 5 content buckets. So they're educational, inspirational, entertaining, promotional, and the user-generated content. So these are the content that people are creating for you, like they're promoting you. So those are the 5 content buckets that are mainly focused for social media content creation. And for example, for Pray.com, we have our Instagram that is focused on inspirational content and promotional content. But you have to remember that, of course, as business owners or ministry leaders, you need to somehow promote what you have, but then you have to remember the 80-20 rule, which is 80% should be educational, inspirational, entertaining, and then 20% is the promotional stuff. So because people want to be entertained, they want to be inspired, they want to be educated, and you don't go log in on a Facebook account and scrolling your feed because you want to be sold to, right? So the 80-20 rule helps me to create content that are more of like giving value to the target audience, and then from the remaining 20% is the promotional. They will buy your stuff when they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
Marty, this is so rich. Let me go back and repeat what you just said. Listen, I can't stress enough. You can't read this anywhere. This is coming fresh off of her, fresh manna from heaven directly to us from Marle. We so appreciate the manna. We thank God for it. Here's what she said. 5 key areas to consider. 80% of those areas, 20% is promo and maybe lead generation. The other 80% is editorial, or what I like to call lifestyle, right? It's a lifestyle information. Entertainment. Have some funny stuff on here, for God's sake. You can't rain down fire if just there needs to be some information that is inspiring, right? Then it's entertaining, inspiring, and then it's inspirational. Then you could here's a free one. Then you can add on discipleship. All of those things feed into the lead generation of what church likes to call a way to disciple. And so your digital platform with those 5 things now becomes a discipleship generator just because we were intentional on the front end. You can't miss that. That is so important, so critical. Listen, I got my notes. You got to be saying something good for me to have these notes. I got my team finna get all the smoke early this morning because this is rich information. Thank you for that, Marle. Appreciate you.
Man. Yeah, this has been so good, Marle. So let's as we kind of round the corner here, coming home, what, Marley, would you say was some of the best, now that we're ready to talk about content creation, what was some of the ways that you humanized the brand? Because I think churches would benefit from this as well, kind of as that fourth step in this process of kind of just reevaluating our social medias for maximum impact. How did you humanize Pray.com?
Yeah. So when I did the social media audit, when I started, so I observed that the past content that were published are all in the King James version. I think it's kind of hard for people to like really understand what the King James version really means. So what we did is change those scriptures, the Bible verses, into new introduction, from KJV to NIV. So because I think that would be more relatable for people who are going to see it as social media, and it's going to be shareable for them. So when they share that specific content that we put out, that would mean reaching more people. So that's one of the things that really made an impact on the content creation. Pray.com. So from KJV to NAV.
Yo, well, no, let's not move past that. All right. Now, what she said is super important. For those who are biblical scholars, she is talking about how she saw an audit and how the audit then transformed into how we can transliterate certain Bible text. Transliteration is taking the old text into the new text and making it current, and so to speak, and then finding what applies to our people to make it more palatable for them to share. That's a 3-pronged process that she said with one sentence that I don't want us to kind of like skip over. That's super important. I saw a problem. Some of us don't even want to see our problem. We think our social media is just doing 120%. It actually probably isn't, right? I saw a problem, and here's how we can just do one scripture. Maybe you don't want to use NIV. Use New American Standard, use Message, use whatever to make it more appealing to the people and not just to your eye.
DK. Okay, we lost DK. That's all right. We're going to wrap this podcast up. Definitely go back and listen to the last minute of what DK said. He waved goodbye if you're watching on YouTube. But Marley, thank you so much for all that you shared with us. Seriously, this has been one of the best podcasts we've ever recorded. Thank you for all of the education that you went through for such a time as this, to be able to offload that and share that. Thank you for sharing it so willingly. I know there's a lot of people listening today that got leveled up. As we close this podcast, is there anything else that you would share to pastors and leaders who are trying to make social media more impactful for their church?
Yeah, sure. So I think the most important that every people who are working in social media for every brand or company is that they're always worried. We're always worried about the algorithm not loving our content, right? But I think we need to change the word algorithm to audience. So, because that changes the way we create our content, because algorithm doesn't hate us. Maybe our audience don't like our content. If our audience don't like our content, it's not gonna be shared. It's not gonna be pushed to other people's feeds, other people's. So I think that's the most important thing to remember whenever we create our content. So it's always about giving value to our.
That's amazing. We're going to end this one with a banger. It's not about the algorithm. We should change that word to audience. Because you need to say, yeah, go, DK.
If you think about it, the algorithm is tech. The audience is the tangible side. You need both. You got to have both. And some people are so, Y2K prone that they think you don't need both. You got to have both. And we can't shun our audience and not use what the algorithm is telling us in order to move ahead. It's very simple. The algorithm is your advantage if you use it well, right, to reach the audience you're trying to reach.
That's it. I don't know what else there is to say outside of thank you, Marle. Again, for everything you shared. I don't think there was a single word that came out of your mouth that was not worth writing down. And this is probably one people need to go back. That's right. DK got all the notes, and there is no way DK should have more notes than any one of us listening. Marle, thank you so much for your time. It's probably almost getting time for you to go to sleep. I don't know when you guys sleep over there when you're working for American companies, but we do appreciate the work, and it is not overlooked. Thank you for leveling all of us up today, Marle. We will definitely be having you back on podcast to talk more. DK, any final thoughts from you before we wrap this thing?
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know that Marle doesn't want to work for any one of you. She's only working for us. We appreciate Marle. We're going to protect Marle at all costs, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna tuck Marle behind the very expensive paywall. If you will not be bought. Marle, keep doing the incredible work that you're doing. It was an honor to have you on the podcast, and thank you for blessing our listening audience today. If you would, listener, please hit that subscribe button, write a review. There is no better way to help this podcast get into the hands of so many more churches and social media managers that need it than to do those two things. We appreciate your ear. If you're watching on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and like and comment and all that stuff as well. Hit us up on X, because DK and I love X more than anything, any other social platform. And let's start the conversation over there. But the reality is, anywhere you can find us, hit us up. We are here for it. Oh, Marle, I almost made the greatest mistake of my life. Marle, where, and this will be in the show notes and the description on YouTube. Marle, where can people connect with you? Where can people reach out to you if they'd like to? Now, they're not going to be able to hire you, but they might be able to get a couple questions answered. Where's the best place to connect with Marle Mae?
Yeah, inbox DK. That's how you say
it. Yeah.
That's gonna be on LinkedIn. So just my name, Marle, on LinkedIn.
I love it. That's as professional as I don't think there's a single answer that Marle has said today, DK, that I was expecting. It's all like, oh, she went there. Okay, cool.
Hey, go to LinkedIn, stay out the inboxes. Please, all questions need to be on the public channel so we can all read it. So, yeah, we're community. We love one another. God bless you.
God bless you, everybody, and we'll talk to you again on the next episode.